There's so many things that I wish I could have done, would have done, and have not done in my coaching business. Today, we are going to dive in and talk about the three big mistakes that I have made in my coaching business and how do we fix them and how to actually avoid them. I know those of you who graduated from IPEC, so did I, and welcome to my world. But in IPEC coaching, that we have learned is that there is no such thing as mistakes. But in reality, is actually, it was my mistakes. So I will be sharing more about what are those three mistakes and how you can avoid them in your coaching business as you're growing and scaling it to the place where you want it to be. Those of you who are new to me, welcome. I'm Michelle, and I am your go to visibility and marketing coach for introverted women coaches who have a passion for coaching but wanted to turn it into a profitable business. I help coaches to use the power of storytelling so that they can have a full time coaching and start getting more paying clients. On this channel, I'll be talking more about strategies and systems that you can use and in place for branding, storytelling, and marketing. So if you have not already done so, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button down below and make sure you turn the bell notification on so that you won't miss any of my new video coming out. And if you are new here, I would love for you to give me a shout out and put a taco inside the comment box so that I know you're joining me this live and also watching as a replay. So drop your favorite emoji, and my favorite emoji is taco. So drop me a taco in the comment. I would love to know that you're following along and you're actually wanting to hear more from me. So today we are going to dive into the three mistakes that I have made in my coaching business and how do you avoid them early on. And these are the things that I wish somebody had told me about them before I actually make them. And so my hope is that by sharing these three mistakes I have made with you, that you will be able to avoid them at all costs. So mistake number one, your DM is not a scalable business model. And so in the past, I had so my first year in coaching business, I decided that social media was not my thing. And I actually reached out. I was talking to someone that, there's so much content creation. I'm so stressing out, and this is not my thing. I became a coach to coach, and I don't want to constantly having to create content. Is there any way that I can leverage it? Is there any way I can outsource this? So, like all the stuff that you're thinking about, I had thought about it, and some of it, I actually tried it. Let me just tell you, it doesn't work. It's not working. It didn't work back then, 5, 6 years ago. It's not going to work now. So what was that big mistake? So that mistake was that your DM is not a scalable business model. And my mistake was that I was thinking that I can put it into some type of automation so it doesn't eat up a whole bunch of my time. So I was looking around, now two ways I was looking around. I was looking around to see if I can hire somebody like a virtual assistant or social media manager, and that person's job is just to help me to send DM to my new followers. So all the strategies that a lot of coaches are teaching you, like, oh, you gotta send DM to your new follower, you gotta make connection with them. I've tried it all. I tried them all, and it was very time consuming. So the fact that I thought about, oh, I need to hire somebody to do this. Yes, I thought about that, check that off. And I even hire a social media manager from Fiverr. And you can hire someone to do this for you in your coaching business. And this is what I don't recommend. Okay. The reason why I'm sharing this with you is I don't want you to waste the money to doing that. And so I ended up hiring someone from Fiverr. It was $120 a month, and that person's job is to engage my followers. So anytime someone follow me, that person's job is to send that person a DM, and I would type it out. I would type out the template. Hey, thank you so much for following me, and I would love to learn more about you. Tell me more about you. So that the stuff that you get every single day. Done it, did it. I have template for it. If you need it, let me know. I'm happy to share that with you because that's a strategy that is not scalable. And the reason why I say it's not scalable, because if you think about it, that one-to-one person engagement is really limited and is very time consuming, right? So if you don't have the resource and you're someone who is, just starting out, you might not have that $120 a month to leverage and to just to work with somebody to do that. And depending on who you hire, the quality is not going to be consistent, right? You don't have, like, that person is not your employee, so you don't go through the training with that person, and so the quality is very unpredictable. So depending on who you hire, that person's level of experience and that person's level of English proficiency, you find a variety of different way. And back then, I didn't know that when you onboard a VA, you onboard a social media manager, you're supposed to provide the training for them, right? And so that was like brand new, coming out of coaching and going into business. The first mistake I ever made was hiring somebody and just do that for me, and that totally blew my reputation out, right? Because I get messaging that come back, and I'm sure some of you actually do this too. That when you get a really spammy DM like that, or a connection DM like that, it send off a really bad energy to that person. Even that person really like your stuff, really like your post, you end up pushing that person away by doing things that just doesn't work. It's like outdated marketing strategy. And so that was the first thing I did, and that was a big mistake. And I even listened to this one social media manager, and I decided to use a robot, like a bots. And you'll hear this word BOT, bots, a lot, right? So what a bot means is that instead of doing the labor of that one VA sending out messages to manually to everybody, the bots will just incorporate and poll all your followers who's new, and they'll just automatically send out a autoresponder to your follower. And I have gotten a lot of these autoresponder, even like Facebook Messenger and Instagram Messenger. It has that built-in autoresponder function. I never liked it, never would use it. The reason being, you are a coach, and the stuff that you're providing, the service that you're providing is personalized. So you want that personal connection where someone, when they reach out to you, despite the fact that there are people reaching out to you, they're a marketer and they're spammer, but you don't want to create an impression that when a potential client coming to you and sending out a message to you, all they get is, oh, thank you so much for reaching out, I'll get back to you in 24 hours. No, that person obviously saw the value of getting to you and reaching out to you. So don't turn the autoresponder on, but actually do the work of engaging that person. And until you have a trained professional VA, or you actually train that person to how to respond those messages, you probably don't want to use a machine to do that, right? Because you're eliminating, you're creating you're hurting your reputation, you're hurting your brand. And branding is such a big thing that once you hurt your reputation, it's like building a trust, right? Once that you break that trust, it's really hard to build on. And so that was the first mistake that I had made. I used a bot, I hired a social media manager, and I told that social media manager to go ahead and send those DM to my followers as soon as they follow me. And that was just a whole bunch of nightmare. I end up having to clean up my list because a lot of these followers are not my ideal clients, and they just want to hang around in my social media and just consuming the free stuff. And so here's another idea, right? While we're talking about this DM and whole idea of sending messages to your new followers, number doesn't mean anything. And so you don't want to grow followers just for the sake of growing followers. What you want to do is you want to have helpful content that bring people, that attracts people to you. They are in your world because they see the value of being in your world. And how do you do that? You create helpful content, you create useful content, you create tips, you talk about these ideas and missions and goals that you have, and how did you overcome some challenges, and get help your clients, help your audience to overcome and doing the same, and get them involved. You want to have that conversation. So last week I talked about how the proof, right? PROVE. So the last one was engagement. So if you missed that video, I would highly recommend that you go back to watch that video. So you want to engage your audience, you want to get them involved, you want to have conversation with them, and that doesn't come from your one-to-one DM. It comes from the actual building that connection, building that relationship with that person. Now, if you think about the building that connection and building that bond between the two of you, right? It's not a scalable model, right? Because how much time do you have out of the day to sit there and it's going like texting back and forth and back and forth? You don't have that much time, and you wouldn't want to spend so much time going back and forth and back and forth. And this is why the one-on-one DM, or just purely using DM as your strategy to grow your coaching business, you're going to run into a place where you're having a lot of burnout because you simply do not have the time to sit there and to try and connect with everybody. And then it comes down to, okay, so can I hire somebody to do it? Well, then you better have the resources to train that person, to teach that person, and you got to make sure that you have quality control to make sure that person represent your brand, that person knows and totally understand what your company mission is, your vision, and what goals you have in your business. Otherwise, the quality control can be very it can vary. I just put it that way. So I think I beat the first mistake to death. So I think you got it right. Just put down in the comment. Let me know what your thoughts about sending DM to individual, whether it is someone who like they represent another coach, or maybe it's a robot auto responder. What are your thoughts to these type of connection DM? Love to hear your thought. Put that into the comment, and that's has built a positive. In IPAC, we call it catabolic community. So that's bring a positive community. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comment below. The second mistakes that I made in my coaching business was that I thought I needed a lot of things in order to have a successful coaching business. And that was a huge mistake because I end up subscribing to a lot of different things. What are those things? Like I thought I needed a really fancy client relationship management platform. I thought I needed a really fancy webinar. I needed to have like fancy video setup, like all these different things. I thought it was what I needed in order to have a successful coaching business. And in reality, that was not the case, right? You don't really need anything at all to have a coaching business. What you need is, first of all, you. Right? It's kind of like, wait, Michelle, is that a joke? Yeah. You need to have you. So people hire you, your client hire you because they see the value of working with you. They don't really care of how you do it. They just want to know, like, how are you going to change my life? How are you going to make a difference in my life and in my world? How can you help me? Right? They don't care of what kind of systems you use or what fancy email that you're sending out. They just want to know, how can you help me? And so initially, especially when you're first starting out, you don't need anything at all. And I know this has been a big questions that comes in my community. Like people are asking me like, what, Michelle, what do I need to get started? Well, honestly, you don't need anything else besides just you. You just need to show up. So what else do you need? You need to have a Zoom. account. Okay, so you might want to meet your with your client virtually if you're thinking about on a scaling. You're looking at the bigger picture. You want to be able to scale your business in the future. Then I would highly recommend using Zoom. So Zoom account is a must, right? And you probably already have a Zoom account. If you don't have a pay version, then maybe you want to consider a pay version, but because that's more stable and it also allows a longer duration. Although Zoom has been doing a lot of upgrades, so I'm not clear in terms of if you get the free version, how much time do they allow nowadays? They did quite a bit of update in their latest update. So if you don't have an account, I would say subscribe to an account, get the cheapest one that's like $15. That's still what I have right now. I added more storage, the cloud storage. So that would bring me to like maybe $28 per month. But other than that, I still use the cheapest account and it's very reliable. It's good to go. And so that's what you need. You're going to need to have a Zoom account and you're also going to need to have a calendar. So this is something that I talked about. I believe it was the last videos or 2 videos ago. And I suggested that you need to have some type of calendar system because you need to be able to take control of your own personal and also your coaching business schedule. If you don't have a calendar system, what end up happening is, oh, you're gonna have to check back with the potential client. What time are you available? Oh no, I can't do that. So there's a lot of going back and forth. So having a calendar actually eliminate a lot of going back and forth. So instead of asking, so what are the days that you're available? And I still run into coaches who does that, and it just drives me nuts. And so what I end up, I end up offering is, hey, would it just be okay if I offer my calendar so that we don't have to go through this back and forth, right? So you want to be able to take control of your time, and that would also help to eliminate a lot of this overwhelming feeling because it's automated. And one of the things I had talked about in my last video or 2 videos ago was the fact that when you set up your calendar, you can also set up a pre-qualification questions. So again, if you missed that video, go back to watch that video, and I will link it into the comment or in the description box down below so that you can go check out that video. But essentially, what you want to do is you want to be able to pre-qualify all these people coming onto your calendar, right? There may be some random dudes who just want to take advantage of you, which I had experienced in the past, and I shared this crazy story in my community where this guy and I jump onto the Zoom, and it was just totally inappropriate. It was completely blew my mind of how inappropriate sometimes people can be, and there's no Zoom etiquette whatsoever. So I learned from that lesson that you need to have some type of pre-qualification questions built into your calendar so that you avoid people who just wanting to take advantage of your time. So that's something that you also need. So you need a Zoom account, you need a calendar, and you need to have like a way of sending email to your potential client, right? You need to confirm the time and the date. When they are ready to sign up, you need to have a way of sending them the coaching agreement, the contract, the invoice, and those are pretty much it. So you just need really like 3 to 4 things in order to have a successful coaching business. That's all you need. Like literally, seriously. Okay, a Zoom, a calendar, a email account, and then you need to have a to be able to send invoice. So you need to some type of like PayPal, Venmo, or Square, or there's another one that's called, what's the other one called? Drop into the comment. I'm totally blanking out. So you just need 4 of these to get started, and that would allow you to scale in that first year. Okay, that's all you need. 4 things. Now, if you want to get fancier, right, you're becoming more comfortable and you're becoming more good at sending out these out, mastering these, then you can think about, okay, so I want to do more live video. Which platform do I go to? Then you can explore something like StreamYard, Restream, or something like more fancier like restream stuff. But essentially, you don't need any of this at all. Being raw and being real is going to come across so much powerful than just having all these different things together. Now, personally, when I a lot of you thought that, oh, Michelle, like, do you have like a whole projection going on in the background? And to answer that, no, I don't. I don't have a huge team. Like, I was able to add two help onto my team last year. So I have a VA, and then I also have a copy editor who helped me edit some of the copies that you're seeing on social media and also on my website, just to make sure that I don't make any grammatical mistake, which I do all the time. Um, but like for the longest years and longest time, I was able to do this by myself, having two full-time job, right? I have full-time coaching and I have a full-time work in the hospital. And so I'm able to do this because I wasn't trying to be fancy at all. Like, there's no video editing whatsoever. This is why I enjoy doing live, because I don't have to edit video. And I really just started out from this four basic. I enjoy and I use a lot of try out a lot of technology because I'm kind of technology savvy. So I like to try out different things. But other than that, I kept it very minimum. And I think one of the mistakes I made early on was that, oh, I saw like this coach using this, and then so I jump into it and not knowing that how am I going to use it later. So I wasted money that way. And then I saw this coach having this beautiful webinar, and that this person is doing this. So instead of using Zoom, I went to that platform and I was like paying a subscription for something else. And these are like all money wasted for no reason. And so that's another mistake that I made. So that's mistake number two, is that you really don't need anything fancy in order to start, scale, and grow your coaching business. So I hope you hear this and you're really being mindful about where your money is going. And money doesn't come easy. I mean, right? This is hard work, and you do have to put in the work in order to get that paying clients. And so don't waste your money on things that you may not be using it, and right now you're just really starting out, you're just testing out things and testing out water. Then don't spend those money on the unnecessary thing. You really don't need a client relationship manager. That all it does is it tracks your conversation with clients. It tracks your money with clients. It tracks your invoices with clients. Can you do that manually? Absolutely. I remember I create those spreadsheet where I was tracking, this is the day I was having a conversation with this person, and then when do I want to follow up? I put down the check mark, and I for the longest time I was using spreadsheet. And later on, when I start to having more client consistently, then I move into Notion, where I can start automate a lot of these things. Which brings me to mistake number three, is not using any automation. And earlier we talked about using automation for DM, right? So it's in the form of a bot, BOT. The automation that I'm talking about here in my third mistake is that I wasn't using automation such as a scheduling app for my social media posts. I wasn't using my email platform. I wasn't using email sequence or automation to schedule out my email that comes out. And so I didn't do a lot of planning per se, using these technology to help me to stay organized. And so the automation that I'm talking about here is automation things like scheduling app, right? Or you probably have heard like Later, Buffer, Hootsuite, and there's also Plan. Currently, I am using Metric Cool. Or if you're on Facebook or Instagram, you might have heard of Creator Studio. All these are automation apps that helps you to stay organized so that you can be consistent, right? And the reason why you want to be consistent is your follower, the way that you grow your followers, the way that you get your paying client is when you put consistently, you put information, helpful information in front of them. And there's none of us who have 24/7 can be on social media. Like right now, I'm not on social media. I'm going to be on the call later. I'm not going to be on social media. We don't have the time to be on social media. So how do you buy time is by using these type of scheduling or planning tools that would help you to stay ahead so that you can plan ahead. So um, we talked about like later, Hootsuite, Metricool. I'm on Metricool right now. How do you decide which one to choose? And this is something that so I'm a very experimental and I love trying out new things, right? So the way that I try these things out is I would do a Google search and I would look for scheduling app for social media, and I would look at their review and see which one, in terms of budget and in terms of user friendliness, I would look at all these factors before I decide which one I want to go to. And the other thing I would try is a lot of them have free trial version. So you can sign up to the app and try it for like a week or 2 weeks. And during that time, what I would do is I would just use it. I would schedule out my post and see how it comes out, see how I feel about it. Is it easy to use? Is it somewhat user friendly? Do I have a lot of clicking? Do I know where to look for things? Does it have any hidden feature that I need to know about or that might be useful for me? And so I do during that trial period, I would just go in and just to test out to see which one I like. And this is something I also talk to my student about because they're working on their email list. And when they work on their email list, one of the questions that it always come up is which one do you recommend? And so my suggestion is always be that there is not a single one that is best. The one that is best is always the one that works for you. And so I always encourage them. There's there's actually four of them that I would suggest them to go and check it out to make sure that they feel comfortable in using because they're the one who's going to be using it every single day, right? So I would recommend like four for them to check out. So these are like Active Campaign, Aweber, ConvertKit, and Miller Lite. Yes, Miller Lite. So four of them, I would suggest to them to go and check it out. And what do you want to do with the email? So basically, an email platform is different than your personal email because your personal email, you can send out bulk email, right? So if I were to send to Mary and John and Jason, then I would have to send individually to Mary, to John, and Jason. So your Gmail account, like Gmail or Yahoo email, these are more for like personal connection or personal interaction with your potential or with your clients. But when it comes to like a bigger on a bigger scale, let's say I want to send email to but all of them, Mary, John, and Jason, then I would need to consider to use a platform like email marketing platform so that I can send out on a larger scale to reach out to more people. And essentially, you do want to have an email marketing platform where it allows you to send out direct emails to communicate with your community. I don't call them a bulk because we don't do bulk email. We do personalized email. Okay, your people in the community, they're individual person. And even though a lot of people call it a list, and sometimes you'll hear me call it a list, but a list is very impersonalized. So I often call my email as a community. It's a community. Um, so I got a little sidetracked there. So what you want to do is you want to incorporate some type of automation into the way that you do things, right? So what are some of the things that you do that need automation? Here is what I would recommend you to do. Start writing down what are some of the tasks that you keep repeating and having to do all the time. And this is one of the things that one of my client Gina, she's awesome in doing this. Every time, okay, every time she has to do something repeatedly, then she would come to me, Michelle, is there something that I can do with this? Like, is there an app or something that I can automate this? Because I don't want to do it every single time. And so Gina is really great in noticing like what are some of the repeatable tasks that she does not enjoy doing and that can be potentially looking for an app to help her to automate it. And so one of the things that I remember we had a conversation about the social media posting. And so she asked me, is there an app that would help her to automate her posting on her Facebook personal profile? So there is an app, if, for those of you who are curious and you want to just check it out, it's called Social Bee. Social Bee. BEE. Okay. Social Bee will allow you to do a push publish on your personal profile. What does that mean? It means that when you schedule out, just like a Creator Studio or just like an app like Later, you can schedule out your social media posts. But when it comes to your Facebook profile, right, your personal profile, let's say you want to use it to talk about your business. Essentially, what you can do, you can schedule it into Social Bee, and by the time when it is time to post to share that post, Social Bee will send you a notification on your phone and let you know that it's time to post. So then you will go to your mobile device and hit OK to approve that posting onto your personal profile. There's a difference between a personal profile versus your business profile. And this is another conversation for another day, but I'll just touch on really quickly. The personal profile has more permission, that it's locked. So a lot of the third party app would not be able to post for you without the permission. This is why Social Bee would send you a notification and you would have to hit the OK in order for it to be posted. So there are so many different technology that allows you to take away the overwhelm on some of the repeatable tasks that you are doing. So what are some of the things that you've been wanting to like outsource? Maybe you're thinking about, is there something that's out there maybe that can help me at least schedule this or at least taking this task away from me? What are you thinking about? And perhaps I can send you some resources or direct you to the resources that you might be looking for. So drop that into the comment down below. Let me know what are some of the tasks that you've been getting really sick and tired of and you want to get rid of it or just don't know how to get rid of it, or maybe you just haven't find the right resource who knows how to send it out and how to automate it. Let me know, drop into a comment. Maybe I can share some resources and direct you to where you go. All right. So let's recap. So the three big mistakes that I have made in my coaching business early on, and how do you fix them? How do you avoid them? The first one is that DM is one of those things, and sending direct messages or private message to that one-on-one person scale. It is not a scalable system. What is scalable is creating content on your social media that draws people on. And this is not just limited to social media, right? You were talking about like YouTube, blog posts, a lot of these different ways that you can help your target audience, to help them to have experience that change by giving them some helpful tips and resources. That is going to attract people to coming to you without you spending time sitting there and trying to reach out to everybody, right? So this is why like content marketing is huge, because by creating content and creating content to present it to the right audience at the right time at the right moment is going to bring traffic to you, rather than you spending and wasting all these type of energy to trying to reach out to people. I will say though, here's a disclaimer that strategy works for a one-on-one building relationship. So when someone come to your space, you do want to connect with that person. You do want to get to know that person. So you need to have a balance between the two. But I would not rely on the direct messaging as a scalable way of doing your business. It's not. I tried it, done it. No. The mistake number two is you don't need so many different things in order to have a successful business. And you don't need to have all those things in order to get started. You just need the basic four. What are those basic fours? You need to have a what did I say? I said you need to have a Zoom account. You need to have a calendar system. You need to have a email account. And the last thing that you're going to need is you're going to need to have some way of billing them, right? Your invoice or your money account. So those are the four things that you're going to need to get started and also to help you to start to scale in the future. And then the last mistakes I have made was not using any type of automation. And these automation include things that would help you to stay organized. Where do you organize all your files? I personally use Google Drive. Where do you schedule your social media posts? I use Metricools. And there's so many out there. And how do you decide which one is right for you? Try it out and see which one works for you that you feel most comfortable, because every single one of us have different level of being tech savvy, or some of us are not very tech savvy. So you want to try out and think and see which one really works for you, that you feel comfortable about using it every single day. Okay, so I hope this helps to get you an idea of what worked and what didn't work for me. And those are just the three that I can think of before I jump onto the video. But I'm sure there's many more that I can think of later. So if you have gone through some of those mistakes that I have mentioned, share, put that into the comment. Let me know what was your takeaway from that experience, and what do you plan to do differently from that experience. I would love to hear from you. And in the meantime, I will see you in the next video. In the meantime, just go out there and let's get them.